against her, claiming she violated a confidentiality agreement. As she continues plugging her new book, she is now saying that she has plenty of tapes and that others have recorded President Trump in his apprentice days using a racial slur. As the former Trump aide and reality TV star also says that she's been approached by Robert Mueller's team about the tapes and she will cooperate. Counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, is blasting Omarosa for being ungrateful and for creating a security risk. Watch.
It does seem ungrateful to go and record people in the Situation Room. I see a lot of Democrats out there and national security experts who aren't exactly pro-Trump or pro-Kellyanne Conway out there saying, hold on, you're tape recording, you have a device in the Situation Room. People are very concerned about that.
The president is also firing back, tweeting, Mark Burnett called to say that there are no tapes of The Apprentice where I use such a terrible and disgusting word as attributed by wacky and deranged Omarosa. I don't have that word in my vocabulary and never have. She made it up. Omarosa has zero credibility with the media. Now that she says bad about me, they will talk to her. All right, so Andy, there's a lot of different legal angles here, but what do you make of this civil suit that's now been fired by the Trump campaign, or filed by the Trump campaign?
It's remarkable to me that there's non-disclosure arrangements in the White House, and you deal with this in law enforcement a good bit. These kinds of agreements are ineffective against investigations. So, you can have all the agreements and contracts that you want not to talk about things. You get a grand jury subpoena, they mean nothing. You have to go in and talk. It also seems to me that there's a lot of sort of sunshine laws that apply to the government, Freedom of Information Act and the like, with the idea that we want the government to be transparent. Now, the president clearly has executive privilege, and he should have it. And when he gets advised by his close advisors to make important decisions about national security, of course those need to be privileged and protected. But the presumption in government should be transparency. I don't think the presumption should be that you clam up.
But is there a legal liability for her? So we've had James Clapper and other people bring up national security concerns with bringing the recording device into the West Wing. Is there a legal liability for her on that front?
Well, I think if her security clearance were, if she had one, who even knows if she had one, but if she had one and that were of any kind of continuing concern to her, clearly that would be yanked. And this kind of violation you'd lose your clearance. Whether you could be prosecuted or not would depend, I think, on whether there was actually some kind of a transmission of classified information that got out there, and that doesn't seem to me to have happened, but that would be the concern.
It seems normal to have a non-disclosure I mean, when you're coming from entertainment, that's something a lot of people do, especially, if he's doing a show and she was on the show and that sort of thing, that you can't go write a book afterwards where you're going to say whatever in order to sell your books. At the same time, I wonder, well, I think that's the problem, is what they're saying is she's out there doing this thing that she apparently signed a non-disclosure agreement saying she would do it. He is not helping the case with the tweets, though. My Lord. I mean,
you don't think a dog calling her dog gets this off his back?
What a terrible idea. And this is something that might just go away based on her lack of credibility.
Well,
why use that kind of language?
Well, and that's my question for you, Jessica, though, but is Omarosa credible?
No, she's absolutely not credible.
Then why the intense focus from the media? 93 minutes they've spent, broadcast networks.
Because it's clickbait, and it's going to get people to tune in, and they're going to watch it because it's salacious and it's dirty. And people who don't want to like Trump love to hear that he used that word. And when the tape got leaked, and now we have Katrina Pearson spinning in another direction, saying like, oh, I was just pacifying her because she's like that crazy relative that you just say, oh, no, of course he used the word. Well, he's embarrassed. We'll deal with it. It's a sideshow, without a doubt there. The security issues are real. Dana Perino wrote a wonderful piece up on FoxNews.com about when something like this happened when she was in the Bush White House. And what she was saying to Omarosa was, no one will remember this in 3 weeks, your book, but what you have done to the office of the presidency and to, important American institutions will live on forever. And that she should have thought of that when she came in there and was recording people. Whether she can be prosecuted or not, that's obviously a huge violation here. But the use of the N-word or whatever it is, that's baked in. I really feel strongly, once people heard the Access Hollywood tape, they made their decision about this person. I don't think a recording of him using a racial slur post-Charlottesville, for instance, moves the needle at all come election day.
Not just that, but if there is a recording, then let's hear the recording. Let's not talk about the recording. Let's not talk about whether there is one. If there is one, play the darn thing. I want to hear it.
I'm sure.
Right?
Well, she needs more time in the spotlight. So
You're right. And that goes to her credibility. The fact that if she signed a non-disclosure agreement and then broke it also goes to her credibility. It goes to the level of trust. And you're absolutely right. She's about selling books right now. She wants to get attention in the media, and it makes great ratings. She did great on reality
But he would be way.
She's doing great on this reality.
He would be way ahead at this point if only he didn't tweet and call her a dog.
He shouldn't have called her a dog, but dogs will stop barking at you if you ignore them long enough. He should not have called her that.
Hold on, I want to get Andy back in here.
I just think, Melissa, your point about the tweets is bigger than this person, right? The president decided at a certain point to have a strategy with respect to Mueller of attack rather than his first set of lawyers seem to be trying to work it out like it is normally done in the case. As a prosecutor, I must say, if I sat there for 6, 8 months and every day read that I had no honor, that I was running a hoax, that I was running a witch hunt, notwithstanding that I hadn't brought a single indictment where I made up such charges against the president. I'm just sort of going about my business, and these tweets come. There's going to come a day when Mueller is going to write a report. And if it were me, and I had been listening to that about me for 8 months, it would be the report to end all reports. It would be exacting, and it would every single thing I could come up with to corroborate whatever bad stuff I put in the report.
You mean using the tweets because that's out there now that they will be.
No, he's saying it would be motivating.
No, I understand that part.
I would hope Well, I would hope he would just go based solely on the facts, but we'll have to leave it there, and I'm sure.
I didn't mean not on the facts, but I'd make sure they got